Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name is Dennis, and I'm with
Josh Weyers.
Yes, it's just the two of us today.
Yeah,
just the two. No caboose. Dorian's out at what is that called again? The Rooster Teeth thing.
Oh, RTX.
RTX.
Yeah, I'm very jealous.
He's in Austin right now, covering that for us, so he couldn't be here. And so again, these last few weeks. Not a lot of big video game news, not a lot of big video game releases,
I mean, it's that point in time of the year as well.
End of summer.
Yeah. I think we're going to start seeing it more beginning of the next term, I guess. Around
season,
winter.
fall.
Season, fall, there we go, yeah. Towards the end of the year, we're going to see a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Borderlands 3 coming out soon.
Yeah. It's funny because it's like summer's like big movie season, right? Mm. But it's actually more of a dead time for video games. Television used to be a super dead time back when it was just regular TV.
When it was just normal TV. Yeah.
Yeah, but now with cable, premium cable, and streaming services, like, I just finished watching Glow that, premiered a week ago. The whole model for television now is, no, you got to keep them coming back. There is no dead season for TV anymore.
To quote the SNL on that, they're going to the endless loop. Have you seen that sketch?
No.
By the time you go through your queue, they've already started adding new stuff.
Yeah.
It's the endless loop.
So, but video games on the hand, they skew more towards. They want to go
beginning of the year, end of the year kind of stuff.
Yes, especially for Christmas. They're trying to get big AAA titles. So you have a huge amount of them being released fall, winter, end of the year because they're, that's when consoles launch, right? Because that's when parents will buy their kids,
People are getting their bonuses, end of the year stuff.
That type of stuff. So anyways, but we do have a few things to talk about today. First thing, it's not really major news, but there was an article about the Xbox Scarlett, how they're going to focus on frame rates and playability for the next version. Also, there was a thing that we can talk about, which there was kind of a spotlight on Phil Spencer.
Oh, yeah.
From Xbox, the head of Xbox. What do you think of this focus on frame rates and playability versus, I guess, graphics?
Well, I mean, it makes sense for me as well, especially in terms of when you have so many people streaming out there as well, So, well, the biggest thing is this is Microsoft, right? So they're looking at what their PCs can do as well, and they're relating it to that. So I think it's a good shout. Look, they're pushing for 4K, 60 frames per second. I think that's the ideal limit. The graphics are something that'll follow later, in my opinion. As I'm sure the hardware is up to scrap, and then it's about the developers in terms of how far the developers can push that hardware, for graphics. But I do think that 60 frames per second, it's just, I would rather have something smoother than have something look amazing. You know what I mean? And especially in terms of when you look at anything in terms of VR, I would rather have frames per second over graphics any day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's one of those issues that we talked about where it's the law of diminishing returns, right? Like where, you would get much higher polygon count or whatnot into your game, but if the frames per second is going to suffer for that,
then what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, because 4K 60 frames per second is what they're going for, and then if you start dropping your frame rate down, even if it looks good, it's not going to feel good.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Depending on the game, once again, if you're looking at things like turn-based RPGs, that's a different element. But anything that's active combat, you'll notice it. First-person shooters, you'll notice it for sure.
Yeah. What was the first Halo game on the Xbox One? Was it 4?
I think it was 4. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was 4.
4, and then on...
Because I think 4 was on Xbox 360 and Xbox One.
Okay, 360, it was just Halo. It was 3, Reach, and ODST, right?
Was 4 not on the 360?
I'm not sure.
I remember playing number 4 quite a lot I'm pretty sure on the 360. I think that came out on both, possibly.
Let's see, Halo 4. But anyways, I remember they reduced the resolution for, I think, Halo 3 on the Xbox 360 so they could maintain this like 60 frame.
That makes sense, though. Yeah.
Like, because it didn't. So technically, I don't think it was like full 1920 by 1080, if I remember.
But I mean, once again, that's a first-person shooter. You need the frame rates for sure. Otherwise, you're gonna suffer.
And this was early in that cycle, right? So, developers hadn't gotten a full grasp of the capabilities of it.
It hasn't been pushed to its limit yet. Yeah.
Yeah, which that's what we're gonna see with the launch titles for both next-gen consoles, right? Because right now we're like, okay, there's Halo Infinite. It's going to be on the Xbox One and whatever they're going to call the next Xbox. And sure, we're definitely going to see that the Scarlett is going to have better graphics. But the gap isn't going to be as big as later on.
True. One of the things that they spoke about that I think that most people, including myself, would be excited about is the fact that you have support with your old controllers. Because they make a point to talk about how a lot of people do customize their own controllers and make it personalized. And it's a shame that when a new console comes out, you can't use those customized controllers that you spent quite a bit of money on. So they made a point of it to make sure that the old controllers work, including...
If you're paying for those Elites controllers,
exactly,
not working. And, it's not like the controllers are going to change, right? They're going to have the same buttons, the same layout. There's nothing
going to
be...
slightly different, yeah.
Yeah.
I think PS4 did that, where the PS3 controllers worked on the PS4 on launch day.
Good. Halo 3 and 4 were on the 360.
Yeah, that's what because I remember playing Griffball. I played the shit out of Griffball on the 360. I also played it on the Xbox One.
Yeah, so what was it? Guardians then? 5 was on the Xbox One.
Yeah, I didn't get to play that much from my friend.
That's interesting though, just because like when you think about how many Halo games were on the 360 versus how many Halo games were on the One.
Oh wow, you're right.
Halo 1 had one game, Halo 5 Guardians, and then that's it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they got a lot coming for the Scarlett then, right? With Infinite.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I mean, I think the mistakes of the past.
They also released the Master Chief Collection on PC, so I don't know if they were maybe just more focused on PC this run around with Halo. Yeah.
So during the Halo 360 generation, you had Halo 3, Halo Wars, okay, but that was, you know what I mean, Halo ODST, Halo Reach, and Halo 4. So you had 1, 2, okay, let's not count Halo Wars, but you had 1, 2, 3, 4 Halo games on the 360
compared to the One.
Yeah. So, well, technically you'll have 2 because you'll have the Infinite on the One. But still, that's a stark difference. But that kind of leads to the that was an interview with Phil Spencer. There was like also this kind of spotlight on him and him being the guy in charge of the Xbox, and one of the stories that they were talking about was him going to Satya Nadella, he took over for Steve Ballmer, and obviously Xbox, while a big, division, is still just a small part of what Microsoft does, and so when Phil Spencer met with Satya Nadella, like Satya was like, "What?" Like, I don't think in terms of like condescending or even argumentative way, but he asked him, so why do we have this division?
Yeah.
More of a, hey, I'm taking over. I want to know why we're going to keep Xbox in the Microsoft.
What are we spearheading here?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so apparently Phil Spencer was allowed to, or convinced Satya to not only keep the division, but to pump a lot of resources into it.
Well, that'd be good for Microsoft, though, right?
Because remember, this is coming off of the launch of Xbox One, which was not as successful as they wanted it to be.
Not the best, but yeah.
A lot of bad PR from all of that. And then, they talked about taking a lot of customer feedback, and that's where backwards compatibility came from, because they just took tons and tons of feedback and figured out what people wanted the most.
Yeah. Which I've got a few questions about that, because I don't have an Xbox. I'm not too sure how their backwards compatibility works. I know on PlayStation They have PS Now, and it's more of like a streaming service. Like you could stream your PS3 games.
See, the Xbox is a lot better. You can literally put discs in.
Okay, that's what I would prefer.
Now, it doesn't cover 100% of all 360 games, but when they started doing making it available, they focused on all the large AAA titles. They start, you know what I mean?
Well, the ones that like the cult classics and things like that.
Yeah.
The ones they know that are going to bring in money.
Yeah. So, we've gotten to the point now where a lot of people are just buying these things digitally and just playing them, so it doesn't really...
Because, surely you can get a lot of the... I mean, once again, relating it to PlayStation, I know I can buy a lot of PS2 games digitally, but I mean, that's where it ends. PS2 games and PS3 games. With the Xbox... I would imagine you can do the same. You can buy all your classic Xbox games, Xbox 360
Some
games
of them,
digitally.
yeah. I don't know how extensive the library is and how much of it covers, but definitely...
They said they are working on the library, though, which is good.
Yes. I mean, they want this stuff. Remember, they are streaming full steam ahead. They want to do digital and streaming, and
They're all for that,
They want Game Pass to be like the thing that everyone subscribe to, and then you just have access to this big library of content.
No, I think that's going to be a great shot for the Scarlett, having backwards compatibility with all 4 generations. I mean, I can easily, if I pick up the Scarlett, I can easily see myself going to like some pawn shop or GameStop or something and just picking up all the 360 games for like $2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just being able to plug in the disc.
I'm just wondering. See, what I would love is that not only be disc compatibility, but for you to like somehow transfer from your disc. But I guess the issue with that is then you could just give the disc to everyone and they would just...
Exactly, you could just pirate it.
But I wish I could just like put it in and then just load it in. Or maybe have it like you put the disc in and have it like register online and that way when you play it, it double checks and verifies that you own the disc or something like that. Just because no one wants to bring their discs out every single time. I mean,
kind of like how PC games used to have the. I think they still do. When you open up the box, they have the code you got to put in.
The verification
code. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's interesting this upcoming next generation.
I mean, we'll find out a lot more at the next E3.
Yeah.
Because they're planning for holiday 2020.
Yeah.
So probably around next year, December,
Yeah, and we'll see at E3 next year for PlayStation whether they're going to try and meet that same time or delay a year.
That's something I'm curious about. Because we've heard so little. I mean, Microsoft has been speaking out more than PlayStation than Sony has.
They have to.
You know, you're right.
If you're second place... You have to.
I remember the 360 launch went really, really good.
Yeah.
By the end, though, at the end of the cycle of the generation, PlayStation had outsold it 2-1, I think. But their initial launch beat the PlayStation, like kicked its ass.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things where PlayStation eventually won, but it was like after it was already the war was over. You know what I mean?
The war was already
over.
The money was already made at that point.
Yeah.
It seems to be like a give and take kind of thing because I know that the launch of the PS2 was phenomenal, like groundbreaking for any other console that was out at that time. It wasn't even in the same circle of competing. So I knew that when Xbox 360 came out, they had to step up their game, and I think they really did with the launch. And now it's a case again of them looking at how well the PS4 did, and it's I'm sure it's very motivating for them to pick up the pace.
Yeah.
And to give us all this wonderful information.
Next up, we got BioWare lead producer of Anthem, Ben Irving. He announced yesterday that he was leaving.
I don't blame him.
And he is heading to another company. I don't think he said which other company.
No, he said it was a good offer, though.
Yeah. Exciting. He's an exciting opportunity at another gaming company. He's been there 8 years. He worked on not Knights of the Old Republic, but the MMO, Star Wars: The Old Republic. So it's just interesting because Anthem has been widely, the struggles and the behind-the-scenes stuff have come out of how this game that was so promising, looked so cool, had great concept, coming from one of the best studios, and how it ended up.
It was just all the push from their main distributor. Who owns BioWare again?
EA.
Oh,
yeah.
Because I remember looking at that, and the thing is like, so the big companies that own the smaller companies, right? They're like, what games are you working on? Show us what you're working on. within 4 months from now, we want to see a game demo, right? And they pushed them for that. And then these developers, like Bioware, I remember the first E3 video we saw of Anthem, that was literally the test demo they showed to E3. Sorry, to EA. They showed them that. They're like, this is what we want to do. This is what we're working on. EA's like, great, we're going to put that in E3. Bioware was like, hold on, no, because let us make the game first, you know what I mean? And then what? They spent like almost, I think only 8 months on the actual game, whereas compared to like a year of marketing before that, you know what I mean? They spent such little time on actual development, and it was all just pushed from EA, E3, sorry. EA, yeah. Oh.
So, just not a good sign.
I had we all had high hopes for that game.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It looked really cool. I played the demo, and the demo was fun, but it's from what people were saying is the demo's kind of what you're getting from the game, like
nothing else.
Yeah, nothing else. It didn't really have a long kind of.
I was really hoping for like a beautiful narrative story as well, but I mean, from what I've been told, the story is okay, but it once again it's suffering in the multiplayer aspect.
Yeah,
and just like the gameplay aspect. I mean, there was one point in time where I think within 2 weeks of the game coming out, someone found a glitch where it was you somehow got stronger by removing all your items. And being naked, essentially, like
hilarious.
Oh my god.
So yeah, we'll see where he ends up next. Activision, they showed off. IGN had 24 minutes of multiplayer gameplay. Showed a bunch of different maps. They're bringing Kill Streak back. You know, I'm someone who doesn't play every single Call of Duty game. I kind of come in and out depending on the what's going on with the franchise.
Yeah, who's developing it.
Yeah, with the kill streaks, did they ever give a reason why they took it out in multiplayer? Well, they never gave a reason to it, but I would assume the reason is because they added things like ultimate moves and stuff like that, and you could just like. I think it was Black Ops 3. You were essentially you had a jetpack. You could walk. You could wall run. You could do all these other things. There was no point in having a kill streak. You even had your ultimate ability where you click I think L1 R1 and you can depending on what character you have some sort of ultimate ability to do. So that trumped the whole kill streak thing. I know in Black Ops 4 they took out the whole because it was more Black Ops 4 was like a prequel to Black Ops 3. Like you still had all the same characters, but without like the jetpacks and things like that. So it was nice that they were starting to get a bit more classic with the previous game. But the reason they did that was for the blackout mode. You know, they realized they couldn't have the blackout mode with people with jetpacks running around blowing shit up. So that one was more of like a. I really enjoyed the previous Call of Duty because they took out all that stuff. It was more like a classic game where you're running around, you're crouching, you know what I mean, going around corners. There's no people flying around and stuff. It's a lot more grounded. So I think they saw so much positive feedback from that they knew that they had to just bring back classic, go back to the golden age of Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Yeah. The original Modern Warfare. That's why they're rebooting it and calling it strictly Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Exactly.
Like they're not saying 3, 4, whatever. They're just bringing it back to the.
Because in my opinion, that was the greatest Call of Duty. Was the first Modern Warfare. World at War was great because of the zombies mode, but just Modern Warfare in general. The story mode was beautiful. It had some tragic plot twists towards the end. And just the gameplay. That was the first game that got me into competitive gaming. I used to go to like Call of Duty competitions as a kid and just play Modern Warfare. I sold my nickname. Funny enough. I sold because it was such a good Call of Duty nickname. I sold it to a friend for like. In South African money, it was a lot of money, but in dollars, it was like $20. The Codfather.
Ah, that's a pretty good one.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this kind of because they're talking about both, one, there's going to be a campaign mode, unlike the last Black Ops.
Yeah.
Also, they're going to strip down a lot of stuff and kind of make it more realistic. And I think I'm excited for this gunfight mode. This 2v2, very short rounds.
And that's the highlight for sure.
Small maps. Random weapons, so you're not like there's no advantage for you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like you're not gathering like, okay, I'm gonna boost up this or that. It's just straight up like.
That's why I've always enjoyed gun game as well, because it's all pure skill based. You know what I mean?
And also like because you can't choose your favorite weapon that you may be good at.
You can't load it out with like the world's best attachments. You know, get the best perks.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I that's why. Yeah, I've always liked gun games. So I know that they've basically taken the elements of that and just made it a 2v2 small map close encounter thing. They're going to be quick. It's going to be a lot more easier for people to jump on and play. You know what I mean? No one has the time for a 25-minute game anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you're a kid.
Yeah. Borderlands 3. I guess some footage. IGN posted the first kind of 4-player co-op gameplay for it. Looks really good. I remember playing Borderlands 2 co-op mode online as well.
I think I saw that video. That was the IGN first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good video.
Yeah. But this kind of leads into the title of our video. This hashtag boycott Borderlands 3.
It's going to be so unsuccessful, this boycott.
Well, people, if they've listened to me on this podcast or they've heard me or seen me on Twitter complain about people doing petitions and boycotts.
We literally spoke about it last week.
Yes, I'm not a fan of those things. Do I think the idea of petitions and boycotts, I'm behind them when they're for
motivated
and legitimate things, right?
But right now it's oversaturated.
And it's also
it's
over boycott over nothing, right? It's like we're gonna boycott. It's like boycott because you found out some company was like, I don't know, causing some
animal testing when they said they weren't animal testing.
Something very big, where now it's like
playing with people's human rights. Whereas this is just some dude who got busted because he should have been busted.
Yeah, there's just so many boycotts nowadays, petitions, online petitions for stupid stuff. And so this kind of hashtag boycott Borderlands 3 started because this YouTube channel, this guy got his channel removed. His name's Matt, and then I guess his YouTube name was Supmatto. Summers, he doesn't have a YouTube channel anymore because he was taken down because they investigated, and a bunch of his old content got taken down as well. So apparently I think this is where the debate or discussion is. He's saying that he put videos up talking about these leaks, but it was all like kind of public domain stuff in terms of it came from somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're getting it from an inside source, you're not the one breaking the rules. Your source is, if you will.
Yes.
But that's the gray area as to how you can get away with that. But you're saying he himself was data mining it?
Let's see here. Well, according to 2K and Take-Two, their investigations have found that he was based on using a Twitch exploit where they were able to data mine some private Twitch streams, and he's saying he wasn't the one who did it. He just is just reporting it, but. It's just interesting that they're taking it very seriously because it's like I think like a 10-month investigation stuff.
Wow.
I don't think it's purely on him, but it's
I wonder if Twitch is going to get involved at all.
I am not sure.
Did we talk about this last week about how Twitch is now promoting under Ninja's?
I don't think so because I think that came out.
Like a couple days ago?
I think so, about how
that's insane.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, Twitch apologized. They were promoting a porno channel, or I don't know if it was a porno channel or an adult or something.
It was an illegal. Their algorithm was promoting it. No one was gonna sit there and go, "Hey, look at these two people having sex. Let's promote that." Mm-hmm. So it was definitely their algorithm or whatever. But yeah, the number. It was. You go into Ninja's. You go into www.twitch/Ninja. You go in there and it says the streamer you're looking for is no longer here, and then there's like related Fortnite channels, channels you might like, and the number one thing was just these two people going to town.
Nice.
Oh, I don't know how Twitch got away with that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to put other stuff like related Fortnite channels.
Yeah, but they didn't do that to anybody else's channel.
Oh, of course. I
when
mean,
they
it's
left.
Ninja.
It's the biggest channel on there.
Yes.
Yeah, so they knew that they'd have to do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to
Yeah. So apparently on Submatto's YouTube channel, he had offered, you know how you can do subscriptions or memberships on YouTube.
yeah, like the $2 a month, $3
Yeah,
a month,
for
$6 a month.
Yeah,
if you're
he has like a $5 a month thing.
Damn.
Where you got access to his private Discord channel that included Borderlands 3 leaked information. So
essentially, he was selling the
so
leaked information.
Discord took down his channel as well. So basically says your channel is promoting this kind of theft of this information, and you're selling it in this way because it's not a public Discord channel. It's a private one that people have to pay to get access to, and you're promoting things that were not obtained legally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting just how these things go. I don't know how. Well, first of all, like you said, I don't think this boycott of Borderlands. I think Borderlands 3 is going to sell just fine. Just like that kind of complaint
about get it. Yeah.
The complaints about the complaints about the microtransactions before, because they said they weren't going to do it, and then later they said
they were going to do it.
They were doing it, but it was purely cosmetic. It wasn't loot boxes.
Once again, I'm all for. You know what I mean?
Cosmetics is fine.
As long as they don't end up doing. Well, I mean, like even then, there's a limit. Like I know I spoke to you earlier about how Apex right now, they had a very limited time mode where they were selling cosmetics at like basically like, well, you'd have to like buy all them. The probability of getting it is like $400 to get the item. You know what I mean? And it's like no cosmetic item in a game that's just cosmetic is worth $400. No, a game console is worth $400. Yes. Not a skin. That's crazy. So as long as they don't do that, I think we're all good. And I doubt it. The thing with Gearbox is also very. I trust Gearbox in the sense of the games they push out. They wouldn't do that. I don't see them I'd see their most expensive. Like I see their microtransactions ranging from like $5 to $10 to $20 and nothing more. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And as long as it keeps it to cosmetic things that don't affect the gameplay or give a advantage.
I would imagine it's only going to be for skins, not even for gun skins, because. Just the way that all the other Borderlands have been set up, like the guns are such. I mean, they were in the Guinness World Book of Records twice.
Well, this one's going to be even more because it's like
exactly, yeah. But there's no because there are so many guns, you can't get there's not going to be gun skins you're going to be buying. I guarantee you, they're all going to be cosmetics. You know, like hats or T-shirts or for your character to make it more defined. But yeah, no, I don't see this boycott planning out. It's also just so stupid why people are jumping on this whole bandwagon of defending this guy.
They don't really have the full story.
Exactly, yeah. They're just getting the information of oh, this guy's doing the same thing any other YouTuber's doing. He's talking about what leaks have happened. You know what I mean? They didn't know that he was the one doing the data mining himself. You know what I mean? It's just it is a little silly. I don't see it going anywhere at all. Yeah.
Yeah, up in arms. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it seems like. It doesn't seem like a big company would go through all that trouble to go after someone that's just talking about
exactly, yeah. I mean, the most extreme point I remember was when Fortnite went after that 13-year-old kid for $80,000. That was a bit hefty, but that was them making a statement to make sure that no other cheaters or stream snipers do the same thing. Yeah, I do for the sake of playing devil's advocate for the audience here, I do get the counter argument to this, which is the guy was promoting the video game for free. It was free advertising, free promotion, but it doesn't change the fact that it's illegal. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also information they don't want out. Right?
Exactly.
It's there, and if you obtain these things through different sources that are less illegal. You know what I mean? You got an inside source that works at the company that's telling you this or that or whatnot.
And that's the best workaround.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're also looking at it from the developer's point of view. A lot of the things that got leaked, they probably would have wanted to use for marketing. You know what I mean? Or just to hype up the game right before launch.
Yeah. So,
Or they could, or they I don't know what the things were leaked were, but they could have even just been things that would have been nice to discover in game. You know what I mean? Like I hate it when developers or people in general tell you too much about a game and then you don't get to experience that in the game.
That happens in every industry, movies, TV.
So true.
It's like
Spoilers, man.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Speaking of Apex Legends, they released that temporary solo mode that people have been playing, but there's been some cheating going on, which you knew was coming because it's so easy to do. It's supposed to be solo mode, so it's like a real battle royale, right? Instead of like
60 people, only one person can leave.
Yes, instead of like four versus four versus four. You know what I mean?
The three versus three.
Yeah, or anything like that. So it's just people teaming up with each other.
Which is unfortunate because I was all for the solo mode, and so many of my friends, they were so incredibly excited for the solo mode because it's difficult having a team you can trust. So I know so many players that are phenomenal Apex players. I play English. I play Apex like maybe 3-4 times a week, but and I love it, but I'm not nearly as good as my friends, and I know that they sometimes hate playing with me. So when the solo mode came out, they were just so happy to just only have to focus on themselves. You know what I mean? But yeah, like you said, I guess people had to ruin that fun by cheating.
Yeah, because all they have to do is go, okay, guys, the same team that we had before, let's just team up in solo mode, kill everyone else together, because it's much easier to kill one guy with 3 to 4 different people.
I think it's called queue sniping. When you and your friends join the queue at the same time, there's a higher probability of you guys joining the same server.
Yeah.
So they were doing queue sniping, yeah.
Or, I mean, you don't even have to be friends. You can just say, hey, so-and-so and so-and-so. Let's team up together.
You can just kind of crouch in front of the guy, and if they crouch back, you're like, okay, sweet, let's go.
And then, and be like, okay, we'll battle out, kill everyone else, and at the end, then we'll do our
little final showdown.
Yeah. So just another. So I don't know how long that solo mode's gonna last for Apex.
I think they're gonna bring it back. I think it's gonna be a full-time thing.
Oh really?
Yeah, 100%. Once they flesh out the details of people queue sniping and teaming up in general, I'm sure that I can't think of anything right now off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there's some way to be able to limit teaming in that sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they could add some kind of element where it's like a thing of like when you see somebody, there's a penalty if you don't go after them and kill them.
Yeah,
I don't know,
something like if you're in range and your gun's pointed this way, his gun is pointed this way.
There's got to be some kind of penalty.
Yeah, and for some reason, even after someone's dead, you don't turn to face each other.
And you guys just keep going.
Yeah.
There's got to be some kind of penalty. I'm sure they can figure that out.
Yeah. I personally wouldn't play solo mode because I suck so bad. Like I got to get on a team, like hopping on a team with Caboose.
Oh yeah.
Where he's really good at it, and like he can take out other people, and also he can revive my ass when I'm down. So I'm gonna stick with the regular mode.
As somebody who isn't that good either, I do enjoy the solo modes mainly for this the case of. I always tend to lag behind. I'm always I'm always the kind of guy that's away from the team, looting some other place, not being caught up. So it's nice to not have to worry about that and play the game at my own pace, and even play a lot more passively, which people hate doing, but I enjoy playing passively, just trying to get into the last ring. I stand a much better chance when the ring is a lot smaller. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, me too. But usually that happens on accident, where it's like I'm just running around. And then, and I can't find anyone.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just, searching and searching. It just happens to be I can't find anyone to fight. And then everyone's killing off each other. And then I'm in, the last...
You're in the last storm there, yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to wait it out.
And then I die. Yeah. Then I die. So, all right. Dead Island 2 on its third developer.
I don't think we're ever going to get this game.
Yeah, it doesn't.
How many years has it been since their original E3 trailer? Which, by the way, was the best video game trailer I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was a pretty good trailer. I actually quite enjoyed the game, even though the game wasn't what the trailer looked like, right? The trailer looked like this kind of story.
Wait, did Dead Island 2 actually come out?
No, the first Dead Island.
I love the first one, yeah. I had a lot of fun playing.
It was more of a 4-player co-op.
It was like
first-person
it reminded
zombie
me of
survival game.
It was Left 4 Dead, but brought up to a much more survival kind of aspect.
Yeah, it's less fast-paced. I enjoyed like you could stomp on zombies' heads and whatnot, and you had to learn those abilities. So you'd upgrade. They had an RPG light element to them. You could upgrade your weapons.
It was the best LAN party game as well. Like I used to just, we used to meet up every single weekend back in my hometown and just LAN this game like for hours.
It was fun. Large maps. And then you can I remember getting like a baseball bat, and then if you found like nails,
some wire or something,
you could put the nails in it and increase the damage. So it's kind of sad.
It's like they took all the zombie games, all the best elements from each zombie game at the time.
It's actually more my style of. I mean, I like World War Z and like Left 4 Dead, which are these kind of fast paced, like just tons and tons of zombies trying to kill them all.
Yeah.
Dead Island was different. There wasn't a ton. I mean, there was a good amount of zombies, but it wasn't like hordes and hordes of zombies.
And it was still fairly like a good difficulty curve to it. You know what I mean? It wasn't easy. Like the zombies were slow, but it wasn't easy.
But it was more about exploring the areas, surviving, finding weapons. Bullets were not plentiful. Like you weren't like going in like I'm gonna just
mowing down.
Yeah, it wasn't that style. So I actually quite enjoyed that.
I remember playing it for the first time alone and just realizing after dying the first couple times, I was like, I really have to count my shots. I have to make sure every single shot counts. Otherwise, I'm screwed.
Yeah. So I had a blast playing that. That's why I was looking forward to the second one, but it's been passed around. I remember, what was it, Deep Silver was the first?
I had high hopes with I love Deep Silver. Yeah. I like the way their games look when it comes out. So I know the graphics would look nice.
Yeah, and then this passed on to Sumo Digital, and now Dambuster Studios is now the lead.
I don't even know them.
So it's still under THQ, but it's just one of those things where you're losing momentum on a game that
most people don't even like. If it wasn't for us doing this podcast right now, I didn't even think it was still in development. Yeah. You know what I mean? I thought they just kind of called it quits.
Third developer. Yeah. I mean, I like the trailer that they had and the
one with these running down Venice Beach.
Yeah, and the gameplay demos, and I'm like, that looks cool. Let's make that game. Like, where's that game?
And we haven't seen it at E3 or the previous E3. We haven't
I think 2014 or 15 was like the last time we saw anything new.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope they're still doing it, and I hope it keeps the spirit of the first game.
I really hope so too. I do have my doubts, just because I think most people will have their doubts because they've switched developers 3 times. Yeah. Like that is a very, very worrying thing as someone who's a fan of the game. You know?
I'm wondering why THQ is still kind of going with it. Just because
they must have pumped in a certain amount of resources and money where they just want to at least try to make their money back, I'd imagine, you know? Like, even though they've switched developers 3 times, I imagine they probably still have the resources those developers worked on, and they've just moved it on to the next developer. That would be the smart thing to do. They're not, I mean, I don't see them starting over 3 times, you know what I mean?
No. I mean, the thing is, it says Sumo has concluded work on Dead Island 2, rather than working as a support studio alongside new developer Dambuster Studio. So what they're working on, it's not like from scratch, right? Yeah. They're taking what already has been built and then, you know, I don't know how much is left and how much they're going to restructure and redo.
How much is going to change.
But, yeah, I don't know.
I just hope it's not a watered down version of what it is that we want. Like, honestly, I would just be happy if it was the exact same as the first one, but just a bigger map.
Better graphics.
More weapons, and that's it. And I'd be so happy.
Yeah. All right. The last thing on mine is on my list here.
Some VR stuff?
Yes, VR stuff. So, like I said before, games has been pretty quiet.
Yeah, it's been pretty mellow this week. Besides that whole Ninja Twitch debacle thing, it's been fairly quiet.
Pretty quiet, but there's been 3 actually decent-sized releases on the Oculus Quest, which, I've been raving about the Oculus Quest since it came out. And there's 3. 2 of them are ports. One is an Oculus Quest exclusive, which is called Time Stall. I played all 3 games yesterday. I mean, obviously I didn't finish all 3 games, but I played each of them yesterday. Time Stall is this kind of...
If you finished all 3 games yesterday, I would have been disappointed in the games.
Yeah. Also, it's not like Quest games are super, super long, but Time Stall, it's like a physics-based puzzle game. So it takes place in the future, and you're on this... it's like a more tongue-in-cheek. You're on this spaceship cruise, and you're helping out the captain, and something goes wrong with the ship.
Is there a narrator?
Yes, there is a narrator.
And would you say he's quite tongue-in-cheek?
Well, there's a ship there's a ship narrator, and it's a she.
Okay.
Haven't gotten far enough yet.
Because whenever there's a narrator to a game, I love it when they're like, when they're just cheeky with you.
I think so, but I haven't gotten far enough to see how far the humor goes right now. Because I can't tell if this is like, okay, this is fun for all ages, or if it gets a little blue or whatnot.
Have you ever played a game called the Stanley Parable?
No.
I think that you would absolutely love it. Love it. It's that's a game where the narrator just screws you over. Where he'll be like, "Okay, make sure you walk down this door," and you do, and then you die, and he's like, "I can't believe you listened to me." I love games like that.
So this kind of the whole gimmick on this game is that there's like a kind of time machine-like device. It's not really like you're not jumping through time, but it can kind of pause time.
Okay.
And so what happens is something goes wrong with the ship, and like let's say tons of stuff go crazy, right? Like in the first part that I'm playing, like these boxes are in the air and they're gonna land on the captain, but it freezes time. You got to figure out, kind of like it's weird, kind of like did you ever play Super Hot?
Yeah, I love I played the VR one and the PC one.
So instead of like trying to kill someone, what you're trying to do is like figure out how to...
Does time move when you move kind of thing as well?
No. This is more like it stops, you figure out what you need to like move essentially and change around so that once time comes back...
Almost like Tetris, it'll fall down
also
in the right
like
place.
have you ever seen those Quicksilver scenes in the X-Men movies?
Yes.
He didn't stop time, but time for him is very slow because he's so fast. And so he's like fixing in rear.
Okay.
It's like that. So it's like as time.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
But it's a much,
Quicksilver, the VR game
in
space.
At least so far, it doesn't seem like super, super violent. Like there's like I think it's a champagne bottle that's open, but it's like,
slowly.
Yeah, it's heading towards.
That's so cool.
And then you've got to push it out of the way. You got to change the direction of it.
That must feel just aesthetically nice. Like I'd imagine, like especially like seeing the slow kind of champagne bottle go towards you, and you can just kind of push it off. That must be so nice.
Yeah. So that's one of the games. That one's an Oculus Quest exclusive because a lot of the games on the Quest right now are a lot of them are ports, and these 2 other ones. One is called Ninja Legends by Conflip Studios. It was on the HTC Vive and the Rift, and it's basically instead of a wave shooter game, it's a wave hack and slash game.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Where ninjas are coming at you, and you're slashing them with your samurai sword.
Do you have shurikens as well?
I haven't gotten that far, but I do know like the enemies will throw ninja stars at you. They'll
so
throw.
You can block it off.
You can block it, or you can hit them back at them.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty fun. And this is one of those things where this stuff is perfect for VR because it does something that you can't do with your regular console, right? And controller. If you have a sword, your character has a sword, whether it's first person or third person, you can't really control exactly where the sword is going, right?
Yeah.
In VR, you can control exactly where you are slicing.
Have to look. You can just, someone's behind you. You can just poke them like that if you want.
And you can slice. So it's very accurate when you are like, you're slicing, like these ninjas come at you and you slice off, like let's say their head.
Ooh.
You can slice their face in half.
Did you play? I think it's called Son of Gorn or just Gorn.
No. I've seen videos of it.
You're just like slashing off people's arms.
This one
and
they make
beating them with their own limbs.
This one they don't make so bloody.
Yeah, that was very gory.
They make this a little more cartoony.
Okay.
But like where you're slicing them and you can block it's just something that you can't replicate on a controller.
I do
on a
enjoy.
console.
I do think that any VR game involving waves coming towards you is just a good idea because, well, any kind of VR game where the things are heading towards you is a good idea because you don't have to have a big space set up in your apartment or wherever you are. You know what I mean? You can just be standing still, or even I guess sitting if you really wanted to, and then you can handle the waves that way.
Yeah.
Like the game we were talking about just now. You do have to move around the arena, and they have their way of doing it is quite cool. You just do this with your arms, and you're basically running. But once again, it's so much easier and way more immersive if the character doesn't move either. You know what I mean? If you're standing still and just in that little spot and you're just turning around and swatting people.
Yeah. Now the last one that came out is also a port, but this is actually my actually favorite one of the three that I played yesterday, and it's called Red Matter by Vertical Robot. It was also on the Vive.
I think I've seen gameplay of that.
On the Vive and Rift, and it came out last year. What's notable about this game is they were able to almost near perfectly port over the Vive and Rift version. For people who don't know, the Quest is less powerful than the Vive, the Rift, anything else. Because
also space-wise, there's not much. Well, depending on which version of the Quest you have, you don't exactly have a lot of space.
Yeah, and also it's essentially a high-powered Android phone because it's using an Android operating system, and so it just makes sense. The Rift and the Vive and the new Valve Intex, they're going to have the best graphics out there. What's great and why I rave about the Quest so much is that it's so easy to use. It's not
anybody can use it.
It takes away all the barriers of entry that most people that aren't hardcore VR people have.
It's for old generations as well, in my opinion.
Yes. So I think that's also why the store and the games are less adult and more family friendly. And it's like you don't need a laptop, you don't need a desktop, you're not tethered down, you don't have sensors or whatnot. So it was actually quite an achievement for them to, if you see the graphics for this thing, it's like, oh wow, they really got it pretty good, And so they were able to do a lot of cool tricks. And when you think about it, that the Oculus Quest is basically just a high-powered
Android phone. That's kind of crazy, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I was super.
And I actually really like the game too. Besides the graphics, it's a puzzle game that has kind of an adventure aspect to it. You're this guy who's like an astronaut that travels to one of the moons on Saturn, and this is like a Cold War thing where Russia's still like
race to the moon kind of thing.
Yeah, and they've already established a base on this moon off of Saturn, and you go there to investigate what's going on. And it's really cool. You have these two different devices, and you can pick and choose. There's a lot of different things you can do in the game, but ultimately it's a puzzle game, like where how do I get from this one area to the next area? And there's different things you need to do.
It seems like puzzle games are going to be...
VR work very well.
Especially until we get to a point where we can get those incredibly high-end action experiences with a good frame rate at a good quality. Until we start getting first-person shooters on a VR that's 60 FPS at 4K, I think puzzle games are just going to be the way to go.
Yeah, and with VR and the immersion, it makes sense. It's like, okay.
And you get to play around. There's so many other... I've seen a lot of great VR games where it's like you're almost like in the position of God looking down at these like people and like you're basically playing God. I love those kinds of games
and that's how I think Moss is.
Yeah, Moss is like that. Yeah, I love that. That's such a nice way of playing it as well because you're looking at it,
And it's something that you even playing... I know I think you can play Trover Saves the Universe without VR.
I've been playing it without VR.
Yeah, but it's more fun in VR because of because of the depth of because it is a puzzle platformer, and being able to see the depth of where you need to jump your character and go.
It makes it easier because I've been playing on PC and it's difficult. I'm not gonna lie, that part specifically, having my character jump from one platform to another platform is so difficult without the VR.
Yeah,
because I don't get to look around and
exactly.
see that depth.
In the VR,
know?
you can move around and be like, okay, this is how big it is, how tall it is, and whatnot. And it's part of the game.
I have to look at their shadow like I'm playing some PlayStation game. I have to like look at the shadow jump. Okay, that's where the shadow's gonna land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely better in VR. Funny as hell though if you haven't played it.
Yeah. If you're a big Rick and Morty fan like I am, it's exact. Just reskin it.
Yeah.
And it'd be Rick and Morty, right?
Exactly.
The voices are the same.
It's more like if you watch Rick and Morty, it's each season that has that episode where they do there's a specific word for it. The TV channels that they do. The different parallel universes for it's like all of those sketches put into one almost. It feels like one big sketch of that, if you will.
Yeah. So, we'll keep talking about VR, like I mentioned before. We're working on our own VR game, Twin Peaks VR, which is getting close to being finished. So we're very big into the whole thing. We think VR is going to be much, much bigger because people keep saying that it's dead or it's dying. It's like
it's like if anything, this is the second. This is the
second wave.
This is the second wave of
the real wave. I think.
Yeah, the real wave because the first wave was so like everyone was so like, oh, look at the technology. This is amazing. And then it just didn't pick up in terms of sales. Now this is the real wave where we're getting the sales. And then also, we don't talk about this that often, but like the amount of help it is in the medical world. You know what I mean? For medical students to be able to like train in VR to operate on people. The real world applications are getting much and much more better. And then also we have so many theme parks. Like, I mean, on Hollywood Boulevard, there's like 2 or 3 VR places as well. I don't know. Anybody who's saying that VR is dying is they're not paying attention.
I think this Christmas is going to be it. Like in terms, I think
there's going to be a lot of Oculus Quest being sold this Christmas.
Exactly, and by that time, at least episode 2 of Vader Immortal will be out. Hopefully 3. Hopefully all 3 episodes are out by then.
Oh, that would be such a that's something the whole family can get into. What I see the Oculus Quest being is how the initial SNES got launched, where it was like you got yourself a Nintendo for the family, not just for your kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays you're getting a PlayStation for your kids, you're getting an Xbox for your kids, you're getting an Oculus Quest for the family.
Yeah.
Not for your kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of cool other experiences that you can do, which are, they don't have as much interactivity, but it's just kind of cool. Like you can go down there's like a game where you go down into the ocean and then you just look at virtual dolphins and virtual blue whales. But it's just cool because you get that feeling of scale when you're in there and you're like, oh, that's what a blue whale. And like I said before, Oculus Quest is just the beginning where the graphics aren't the best. But they're going to get better.
And it's also a stepping stone. Like anybody who's going to go and buy themselves an Oculus Quest, if they want more, they can go and get more. Yeah. You know what I mean? If they have the money for it. Well, I mean, what? Like the base, the initial, the cheapest one is $300, right?
$400. $399, yeah.
$399 for the cheapest one. Like that's no matter how you look at it, it's better than $1,000 computer.
I think by Christmas it'll be $350.
Because
I think it'll be on sale on $350 because. Yeah,
I got to put the HTC Vive. I got to put that on my grandma, and I got to show her the pyramids in VR.
Yeah,
and that was like, you should have seen her face, Dennis. Like, she's so old she can't go there, but she was able to just click a button and then teleport to the other side.
That reminds me.
And look at the pyramids.
That reminds me that one app, Wander. Basically, it takes Google Maps and the Street View, and it maps it out.
Oh, wow.
So
you can go see New York City.
You can see anywhere. Like you can type in an address to any place you want to visit or you've been to before. Or, for visiting like locations look, it's not a substitute for the real thing, but it gives you enough of a sense of it.
If you're handicapped, if you have there's so many people out there that aren't able to go to those places,
Or maybe you're just deciding where you want to go for vacation. You want to check out and go look and say,
I didn't even think of that.
Is this worth going to go see in real life or not? I
mean, it's funny you bring that up. I know a lot of realtors are doing that now, where you can do a 3D tour of the house or the apartment.
They're going to do this for hotel. They're going to do this for. There's going to be tons of apps that are going to be like, okay, I'm going to
check out your hotel room.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so easy. They just had to set up a 360 camera, like prop it down, and then like if you're just doing the 360 camera, it's not you're not filming anything. It can just be a photo, and then anybody can just go in, even on their cell phones, and take a look at the room.
And you just want to know the scale of everything. How big is everything? If you want to buy furniture, all that stuff. So
because Amazon's doing that as well, where you can actually take a look at a 3D model of the thing you're buying before the time. So far, I've only seen them do it for stupid things like toilet paper. Like I know what toilet paper looks like, but thank you, Amazon.
What you want is something like any type of device, right? Like you want to know how big this phone or tablet is, or like how is this laptop going to be? Like, is it really that big? Is that really that small? Like, how's it going to place here?
What does 24 inches look like? You know, to somebody who's not used to it.
Yeah, I mean, things are different. You don't know until you actually get to see it. But now with VR and AR as well, you're going to be able to kind of sample like, okay, this is. I mean, think about how many times you've bought something that's like, oh, it's just smaller than I thought.
Do you think AR is ever going to get affordable? Like the HoloLens?
I think so, eventually.
Hopefully, yeah. I got to try the first HoloLens.
Did you?
I was at it was Stanley's Comic-Con.
Okay.
Dude, they actually had it set up where I put on the HoloLens, and then obviously I'm not seeing anything, and I'm like, what's going on? There's nothing you guys are showing me. And they're like, look up. I look up, and just, there were signs for everything. Bathrooms here, food trucks over here.
That's what AR is for. AR is not for gaming. AR is for real-life stuff where, like, imagine having these glasses on. Right now it's not there because it's this big, heavy thing on your head or whatever. But let's say imagine it gets to a point where it's like, glasses, right? Sunglasses level. And Google Maps would be like, think about it. Google Maps, it's not like looking at your phone and looking at where you're going.
It'll just be right here.
Right here. Visually on the thing telling you exactly. You won't get lost. Because sometimes you still kind of get, especially if you're in a big city with tons of different streets, you sometimes still end up walking the wrong way, or
I mean, so far the closest thing we have is there's a company in New York that does AR glasses. Their take on like a better Google Lens or a better Google glasses. The only thing you can do though is get Google Map. Like that's the only thing that it's set up for, which is handy, but like they promise so much more. And then you can call an Uber, but there's still like 2 buttons you push for it, and like it's not really hands free.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the future it'll be voice activated, voice controlled, and also you can bring up more than just maps, like.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, let me correct myself there. I know that now they've released a ring that you use. You use a ring to just to access all your stuff there, and there's like a little joystick on the ring, which is quite nice.
Do you watch Black Mirror?
Yes, I've only seen the first 2 seasons.
I think season 3 was the first one. Nosedive.
Yeah,
basically, it's Bryce Dallas Howard, and it's about a society where everyone is basically based on their like social rating. They have like a rating, right? And every interaction you have, like after this podcast, we're done. Like out of 5 stars,
we rate each other.
Yes, we rate each other, and it's not each other. It's like based on every interaction. So
that's crazy.
If we had a good time, you get whatever, and your thing will go up. Or okay, you were only okay, you get this or that. But in that sense, it's like. Think of like with AR glasses, you see everyone, and you see
how many followers they have.
Yeah, and how many their rating. I mean, in China they already have this like social rating. Like they're like, oh, if you have a social rating below X amount, they don't let you like fly, or that you can't do this.
Isn't that just the credit system in America almost?
Well, the credit system is based on money. There's an actual like social like, okay, if you've done something supposedly bad. You're gonna get.
That's pretty crazy, but also kind of cool. Like so dystopian.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What that's kind of it for this episode. What have you been playing? I mentioned the VR games that I've been playing.
Lately, let's see. I've been playing a lot of the Apex.
Okay.
Like I said, got back into that recently. Really been enjoying that. I've been playing Shinobi Strikers because I got it on sale, and I managed. Me and my friends were a full squad of 4 people, just kicking other ninjas' asses. That's been fun. Been playing a lot of cell phone games lately. Just a game called Arch Hero, which is just a great way to kill 5 or 10 minutes if you're looking for that. But yeah, for the most part, been playing a lot of Borderlands, the pre-sequel, and yeah, Apex, and that's it for now. Yeah.
Mark, our boss, he was working on, like, you can download this game called Neon Retro Arcade, but it kind of just gives you this VR arcades where you walk
that's
into
cool.
it, and then you yourself have to go in and actually like find different games, different skins and whatnot. And he spent hours and hours building his own arcade.
Yeah.
So he went to go find the ROMs for all these old school arcade games. So he brought it in. We were playing it on the Vive.
That's
the end of last week. It was cool. It was like I was playing the old school Superman arcade game. I played the Marvel vs. Capcom.
OG Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, it's like a lot of those old school games, and it looks like when you play it that you're in the arcade playing it, and like there's controls and whatnot.
Is that social at all? That would be amazing if it was a social thing where it's like
it might be. I'm not exactly sure. It might be.
I know the one you're talking about. I know because you're setting up your own arcade. Oh, that would be so cool if there's like if you can share it with multiple people. Have like your friends come over, check out your arcade, and play your games together.
I don't see why not, because it's like it's not like the ROMs of these games are taking much processing power, right?
Exactly. Well, they're definitely not. And I mean, they're all the copyrights died out. For
all
them,
the processing power actually is. All the skins and it's like this arcade that's like it's 2 floors.
It's gonna be like 60 megabytes. You know, like at most you'll maybe have a 200 megabyte game.
It's just really cool in terms of like hangouts, lobbies, and these things are going to be part of the future where people people are having meetings in VR now.
Well, here's the thing on the Quest there's you'll know, I forget the name of it is, but the poker app that you guys have.
Oh yeah. I think Poker Stars.
Poker Stars. I freaking love that, man. Like I remember that's the first after playing some Super Hot. I did that. I just sat down with a room full of people. We were all just talking. They told me how to play the game. We were just talking to each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was talking to some guy from Arizona. I was just having a great time. Like the poker was almost not even important at that point. We were just talking to each other. Like really cool. I love that.
So definitely the social component, I think, to VR is going to be.
I know that they have one now, which is the VR tabletop, but I can't wait for them to flesh it out a lot better so that I can start playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends all the way in South Africa in VR.
Well, imagine like games like Magic the Gathering, like a VR version.
That would be freaking amazing. Yeah. I don't see, to be honest, I don't get why they haven't jumped on that yet. They totally should. Hey, Magic, if you guys are listening, make a VR game. I'll play it.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for this episode. Josh, thanks for joining us. Where can people find you?
Currently not on Twitch anymore.
Why?
I don't know. To be honest, I stream every now and then, but it's just the way that they handled the whole Ninja's channel thing.
Okay. Are you on Mixer now?
You know what? Yeah, I'll get myself on Mixer soon. So next week.
There you go. It's working, Microsoft. It's working.
It's working.
You getting Ninja has a...
But yeah, for now, you guys can find me on Instagram at josh.toki.
All right. And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/collidergames. Subscribe to our podcast on the Collider Factory feed, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.